This is our 26th week of COVID recovery and resource calls. We have been on, as you know, with the mayor of Brockton and the representatives from the Mass Office of Business Development, in addition to the Small Business Administration from the United States. We've had guest speakers, several over the last few months, and we're delighted to have a couple more today. We have Representative Claire Cronin, who will be joining us, as well as Matthew Brewster of P2 Advisors, and he is a volunteer with Small Business Strong. He's going to tell us a little bit about that initiative. These Zoom calls are being recorded and they're posted on the Chamber's COVID Recovery resource page. So I want to let people know that. If you have a question for any of our panelists or a comment or a resource, please share it down below in the Q&A section or in the chat area. If you have a question that we can ask and we have time, we will. Otherwise, we'll ask the panelists to answer them as we go along or connect with you after the call is over. So I did want to mention that this week is Small Business Week. Usually it's held in May, but it was rescheduled to this week. And just wanted to note two local business people were awarded out of the 13 statewide. So Dan Evans from Evans Machine, which was a longtime Brockton business in Brockton, has a long, proud history and is led by Dan Evans, was awarded a recognition for family business operations. And Lori Driscoll, who's a loan originator with Seed Corporation. Seed Corporation is an SBA lender and a certified lender, and they operate out of Taunton, but they service Brockton and all the surrounding communities, including all of Rhode Island and Cape Cod. So we want to congratulate both Dan and Lori for their recognition. So happy to see Margaret has joined us. I know that was a very long and rich briefing that we were both in. We both jumped over here. So I want to start off with the mayor. Hi, Mayor. How are you?
Chris, I'm doing well. Thank you. I can't believe how many weeks we've been doing this, and I just want to thank everybody for their commitment. And you know, the information that we're sharing is making a difference here in Brockton and neighboring communities. And of course, Metro South Chamber is really spearheading this, and Chris and his team, and Margaret and Sue are always on. So, and Eli's always on. So thank you. Just want to let you know some things that are going on here in Brockton right now. Of course, COVID. We are still in a yellow classification. We're at 6.7. Anything under 8 and between 8 and 4 is yellow. So we're at 6.7. So we're kind of the status quo right now. 286 loss of lives, 8 new cases since yesterday. We're at 93 active cases and 4,769 total cases. So a positive test rate as of this morning is 2.27%. So COVID is still here, and we're, facing the ramifications, financial, mental, and physical, emotional damage because of COVID. So this avenue, this tool in the toolbox helps every week, small businesses, of course. And also one thing that I just want to reiterate again, and we've talked about in the past, is that we have free money, $10,000 grants. Chris is on a call with me every week to talk about this. It's CDBG money, federal money, and we want to give it out. And there's an application process, but if anybody's interested, you can go on brockton.ma.us, the Brockton City website, or brocktonredevelopment.com. The application process is detailed, but I think at the end of the day, you're not doing yourself any good if you don't at least investigate and kick the tires on that. So we are working diligently to get that information out, working with Montello, Campello, Downtown Business Association. Of course, the Chamber is a great partner. But it's money there. So if you're a small business, please reach out to my office. You could call us at 508-580-7123. Of course, development is still happening in Brockton, and we welcome it. We want more. I've had some conversations recently with some other potential developers in Brockton, and I say, come, please come. It's a wonderful city. It's a wonderful investment. And I've said it before, if it's a stock, we should all be buying it because the upside is wonderful. So I just kind of wanted to share that. I'm here, as always, to answer any questions. But again, I just want to thank you, Chris, for continuing the momentum, because the constituents are listening and learning from this, and it's an endeavor well pursued. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for being so active and engaged with this group and this process. We've scheduled 3 of these for October. There's 5 Fridays in October, but because there's active negotiation right now, according to the U.S. Treasurer, Steve Mnuchin, and Speaker Pelosi, as of this morning, they're trying to get a deal done for October 1st. And so our next call is actually October 2nd, which is a week from today. And we're hoping to have some great news for you in terms of a phase 4 rollout of additional funding, not just for businesses, but for unemployed people, as well as municipalities and states and counties and schools and all of that. There's a lot in that in the various proposals, but we hope they hit the right spot and negotiate and come to some type of compromise for the benefit of us all. So anyway, we'll welcome you back next week, and hopefully we'll have some good news to share. But wow, 2%, that's a pretty good rate compared to a lot of the other cities. I noticed Brockton fell off the hot spots when other areas now have been added.
I work with my medical consultant, Dr. Rick Kerman, MD, and of course, Dr. Monaso, who's our Board of Health Director. And, the mandatory curfew, I didn't take it lightly. I know some businesses are upset that it's still here, but the metrics and the data show that it has made a difference. And, I wanted to make sure that businesses really wouldn't be stifled. I could have closed the curfew at 9 o'clock like I'd done before, but I extended it to 11 p.m. because the gear was towards the house parties, the outdoor activities that were really creating a catalyst for the spread of the disease. So, we're heading in the right direction. We're not quite there yet, but through the collaboration and dedication of the medical science, the medical professionals. I see Rep. Cronin has joined. The state delegation has been a wonderful partner as we navigate the uncertainty of coronavirus. But again, I want to just thank Margaret and Susan and you, Chris, for your leadership as we do this every week. What did you say, the 26th week doing this?
26 weeks, yeah.
Wow. You haven't aged a bit, Mr. Cooney.
You're looking good, man, looking good. So thank you, Mayor. So I want to move on to Margaret LaForest. I was trying to figure out where you were on the beach in Quincy or where you are. Maybe the sailing center, I don't know.
Town River Yacht Club. Town River Yacht Club. But can you hear me okay? Because I have headphones in.
Yes, we can. I'm glad to see you're outside and enjoying some weather before the COVID returns and winter is upon us. So I think we all should get out this weekend. Anyway, I know you have a lot of updates because of everything that went on the in the phase 3 and all that. So I'll just turn it over to you.
Okay, great. So no, I appreciate that, and I always echo Mayor Sullivan's sentiments on Brockton being a strong investment. As you know, top 1% opportunity zone in the country. The Commonwealth has a great incentive package for developers looking to invest in gateway cities. So if anybody is on this call that is interested in investing in Brockton and interested in understanding what the state part of can bring to the company to help incentivize that, Sue and I both welcome that opportunity to speak with you. So this week, as you know, every other Friday coinciding, Chris Cooney's got perfect timing as well. Secretary Keneally gives us an update, and here's our latest. So probably heard on the media that we are still in phase 3, step 1, and there are updated protocols for our restaurants, retails, and events. Our gathering orders for events, we are still at 25 indoor and 50 outdoor. So that's, I know there's strong advocacy to see that increase, but that's where we are. The travel advisory, as you know, that's changing, but regularly based on healthcare data. And can you not hear me?
No, we can hear you.
Okay, so I'll go with this with no headphones. Sorry if there's any background noise here. And we won't talk about small B strong, but that is coming up on your agenda. Big update, extension on the administrative tax relief for local businesses, and this is sales tax, meals tax, occupancy tax. If you have less than 150,000 in taxes, there's relief for you, and there is a waiver of all late fees, penalties, and extensions, and this is now going through May 2021. So you've heard us talk about this before. The DOR has updated the guidance. There's nothing actionable to take advantage of this program, but I did have the link here for additional information. Our findmylocalma.com campaign, this was a big talk on the secretary's call. And we have our toolkit available for businesses to download. We're asking businesses to display their My Local MA flyer, as well as utilize the logos and the hashtags on social media, really drawing that attention. So anyone here wanting to tag us, hashtag My Local MA, tag the Metro South Chamber. They are a great resource. And let's draw attention to Brockton and get Brockton trending on this statewide campaign being managed by the Mass Office of Travel and Tourism. And then here's our contact information for Sue and I, and any questions, happy to take them offline.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you very much for that update. Appreciate it. It's good news that, just to reiterate, that tax receipts are not going to be due now until next year. So it's for hotels and for meals on the state side. and as well as restaurants and bars are going to be able to seat people at the bars with plexiglass in place. That will allow, with the colder weather, restaurants and bars to serve alcohol with meals, socially distanced apart at a bar, treating it kind of like a table, and giving owners a little more space to accommodate patrons who want to go out for something to eat over the winter months. So that's great progress, and thank you for all that. Want to just throw out there, because I know Margaret's been helping us. It looks like we're going to have the Secretary of Labor, Rosalind Acosta, at our Good Morning Metro South in October on the 20th. And so thank you for your help in securing her. And we're hoping that she's going to have more information about work share and about unemployment rates and about various dollars that are available for workforce training and that type of thing to share with us and our members. So thank you. Want to move now quickly to Eli Speyo with the United States Small Business Administration. Eli's been stalwart supporter of getting small businesses these resources, right? I mean, right from the very beginning, we really appreciate all you have done and all you're doing. Hopefully you get a little bit of breather, because I do think this phase 4, some people tell me I'm wrong, but I think this phase 4, I'm optimistic it's going to happen, and you're going to be slammed again and inundated. So what do you have to share with us today in anticipation of that?
Well, Chris, thanks for having me again, and great to be here. Definitely looking forward to phase 4. We are ready, when and if it happens. We are definitely, I don't have a whole lot of updates to share with the group today. As September is generally compliance month for the agency and many federal agencies, given that it's the end of the fiscal year. But as you mentioned, we've been pretty busy with the National Small Business Award, National Small Business Week, and the award ceremony. So the City of Champions was definitely well represented, as you mentioned. Lori Driscoll was our financial services champion, and Danny Evans, definitely fully represented the City of Champions at our award ceremony. So very, very happy about the turnout there, and I'm sure that as a participant, you may have your comments about the event, the way it was put together. It was our very first virtual award winner ceremony, and we were thrilled. We were thrilled with the attendance. We were definitely inspired by the stories of the award winners, and it seems like people are, I don't know, getting used is the right term, but we're learning to live with the virus, so, and I think that's what it's going to take for us to move to the next, step.
Well, kudos to you. Kudos to you and the team, because it was a great award ceremony, and it's not easy to pivot like so many of us have had to do, but you guys really did it well. And you'd swear that team there you've got, which I know has grown a little bit, is a startup, because you really act more entrepreneurial than people perceive government to be, and move faster. So kudos to you.
Well, we've learned from the best, I have to tell you. We work with small businesses day in and day out, and if anything, small business owners are innovators. And like I said, just working, getting inspired by the various, small businesses we work and help, it's really helped us to be a more effective team. And I've said it, and you probably have heard me say this in the past, but we truly live up to our name, the Small Business Administration. We're a small team, but not to brag, but small but mighty is the proper term. So as far as the loan products go, which really, we are seeing some activity on the economic injury disaster loan front. It is slowly we're seeing more approvals, but and the funding is there. But we are seeing, and just want to share with the group, we're seeing a number of fraudulent cases. And is just frustrating and infuriating for the small businesses who really need it. It seems like our approval rate is less than 50% on the economic injury disaster loans, and of the 15 million applications that have been submitted, we're almost at getting closer to the 4 million application approvals. But still have about 150 or so billion dollars available, and we're hoping for additional funding, of course. On the PPP front, there is well over 133 billion dollars available, from the original allocation of funds through the CARES Act and the Flexibility Act. However, no movement from Congress when it comes to what's going to happen. We are hopeful that they're going to allow for some loan increases if any action, happens from Congress. Again, the prospect of that, no one really knows at this point. But definitely the vacancy in the Supreme Court has complicated matters further. So. But again, our position, we tend not to comment on proposed legislation until it becomes public law. And other than that, that's the latest and greatest that I've got, which is not a whole lot, but definitely appreciate you having us on this call.
Stay tuned. I saw on the Q&A, the question was for you, and it was, do you have any inside information on phase 4? We know, and I don't want to put Eli in a spot, but we know the drafts that are out there. And I can tell you all 3 of the drafts from the president, from the Senate, from the House, all agree that unemployment will be extended by at least $300 per week, retroactive to December 31st. We can't guarantee anything, but they've all agreed to that. They just haven't been able to agree to a lot of the other pieces, which is relative to local municipal bailout, state bailout. And that's why you're seeing a delay, I think, on the state budget. But here to tell us more about that and other things is Representative Claire Cronin is an attorney. She's from Easton, originally from Brockton. It's just a wonderful, thoughtful, bright, articulate advocate for all of us in this region. And we're fortunate to have her associated with this region because wherever she goes, she's a shining light and someone who people look to for leadership. So thank you for being here, Representative. I know you actually brought to our attention the Small Business Strong in a meaningful way. We've kind of been hearing about it, but you're like, no, you got to look at this. So thanks for being with us. What can you tell us and what do you want to share? And then we're hoping you introduce Matthew Brewster, who can tell us a bit more about Small Business Strong.
Yeah, sure. Well, on the State House front, people are probably happy to know that we have never shut down, although we have been acting remotely in many cases. Not an easy thing to do. There are 160 members of the House, and we had to, and as you might imagine, some of our systems within the House, phone systems and the like, are somewhat archaic. And we had to develop a system for 160 people to be able to vote remotely, be able to speak on the floor if they want. It was, fairly complex, but we were able to do that. In the last few months, we've been able to, pass some significant pieces of legislation, many which are in conference committee right now. We have not yet passed our budget. We did a short term, like a 3 to 6 month sort of deal, but we're looking at that. Unfortunately, when I speak to the budget this year, the news is not good. There are estimates that we are probably going to have a shortfall of anywhere between $4 and $6 billion. The state budget is typically runs, I believe last year's budget, we were just short of $44 billion. So if you look at that and to think that you're going to take potentially $6 to $8 billion out of it, 4 to 6, sorry, not 6 to 8. It's going to have a significant impact across all sectors. We are also seeing, due to COVID, a great increase in our mass health costs. So, in some area, we're going to look at an increase in needs, an increase in costs, and a decrease in funding. So it's really going to be a very, very tough time because we don't expect to get the federal funding before the end of the year. And with that, will come, really tough things. And then we're going into the next budget season. The governor unveils his budget in January, and there are just so many unknowns. So it's really, really hard to say, where we're going to see the cuts, but we expect them. The one
So
thing,
just to be clear for our listeners, you're saying $4 to $6 billion budget shortfall projected from July of 20 to June of 21, but the governor prepares his budget in January for 22. Is that right?
yes.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure we got that.
Yes. So we're, but there are just so many unknowns. So it's been a very, very tough time. For many of your listeners here today, the House did pass an economic development bill in August. And that bill, is going to free up probably $450 million in state funding to spur growth. Part of the, what we also did in the House bill is we did legalize sports betting, and that is expected to 15% of the income developed through sports betting is expected to go to the Commonwealth, and we expect that to be roughly around $50 million. And in that, the funds are going to be designated. So what we're going to see in there is 40% is going to be for a workforce development fund for at-risk youth in low-income communities. So that would be really great for the Brockton area. 30% will be designated to a distressed restaurant fund. This would allow, give restaurants support with their rent costs, various things. 10% for a youth development initiative, 10% for local aid, 9% for public health, and 1% for a players benevolent fund, which will go to charities in the area. So we're really hoping that the conference committee comes to a resolution soon. And I expect they will. I know they've been working hard. I myself simultaneously am leading the conference committee on the police reform bill, which is out. We are working hard on that now. So, there's a lot going on still at the State House, despite this.
Is there a target date for the budget to be released that you know of?
No, I can't say what that is.
Okay.
I know they're working on it very, very diligently. I actually had a conversation with the chair of Ways and Means, Aaron Michaelwitz, who's my very good friend. And, he tells me they're working really, really hard. But, we're just dealing with so many unknowns, and it's made the process difficult.
So in the past, Representative, we've seen 9C cuts, and that's where they ask every department just to cut 6% or 7%. In this case, it looked like it would be 10%. Do you think that that's how the legislature will approach this, is to keep everything in place but just cut it by 10%? Or will they tend to just defund some aspects of the budget completely?
That I can't say. I mean, they always say a budget is a moral document. You fund what you value. So you can always, look at previous budgets as a blueprint. And, for every line item in that budget, there are people advocating for that line item. And I don't know exactly how they're going to do it. That remains to be seen. But we consider everything, and it's going to be a tough budget, though. I mean, when you're looking at that loss of revenue, and as we're going into COVID in the fall months, the numbers seem to be increasing at a rate that's a little bit alarming, and it just affects things across the board. I mean, and then, there's a lot of unknowns next year, commercial real estate. I mean, people are finding I think that is probably going to take the hugest hit of all when we get into next year, because, people are finding they can work better at home. So they're, I know a lot of businesses have not re-upped their lease, or at least some businesses may just have a smaller footprint.
So we had a panel on this 2 weeks ago, and to your point, that's exactly right. There's going to be a lot of leases not renewed. They're talking about them not eliminating the lease, but shrinking the amount of the size of space in Boston, and then picking up satellite space south of Boston, west of Boston, and north of Boston, and requiring employees who already live there to report to a smaller office part-time, still work from home part-time, but not completely remote like now. So that may benefit Brockton and Easton and Route 24, Route 3.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping.
You and me
We've
both.
got the trick. You know, we would certainly push for that without a doubt.
Yeah.
And, you know, the other thing too is, you know, Zoom can be sometimes efficient, but you do lose the ability to collaborate with your fellow employees. And I think, you know, FaceTime goes a long way, so.
You know, Brockton has a lot of space available, but Easton has tremendous potential. And I was on a call the other day with about the industrial park. If we were able to get Brockton sewerage into the industrial park, it could double the number of jobs available to Brockton residents and people in the region. And at a time when businesses may want a satellite office. And the reason that is, people go, how can that be? Because the industrial park isn't expanding. But right now, half of the property is set aside for leaching fields and septic systems, which some people don't understand, because if you grew up maybe in a city, you don't understand that every home in Easton actually has to have their own waste treatment plant on site. And every business in Easton has to, well, up until recently. But in the industrial park, they all have to have twice as much space, and they can't build on it because it has to be set aside for leaching waste. And oftentimes these systems are not, they're bigger than they need to be, because employees are only there 8 hours a day. They're not taking showers; they're just going to the bathroom. And so there's some real potential there. And I know you're a critical component because you represent both Easton and Brockton. And I know the mayor just popped back on. There's some discussion along that. It would be great to see some progress on that.
I've already had conversations with Connor Reed, the town manager, Stephanie Danielson, over at the town. We did this about 4 weeks ago, just to have initial discussions. I know previous mayors had conversations, but the ramifications where the city of Brockton would only do it if the town bought water and sewer. I don't have that opinion. So if it makes sense, capacity-wise, not hamper the efforts here in Brockton, absolutely. So we did step one, and the town manager is going to get me some documentation in the near future.
That's great to hear, Mayor. And I think you're one of the first in a long time that has a law degree. And I think this is a complicated deal, and you've got to have an understanding and a confidence that you can put a deal together. So I think you're just the person to get it done. Thank you. So Claire, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but you jumped on that real estate piece.
I couldn't quite hear that.
Oh, I said I wanted to just fill in the real estate and support you in your real estate point, but go ahead.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for today. Unless there's anything specific you wanted to talk about, I just wanted to kind of highlight the economic development bill. Some of the things. I mean, I guess I actually didn't share some of those things with you, but with that funding, we're looking at $65 million for the Mass Growth Capital Corporation, which will provide a lot of small business loans and grants. In the bill, we also invested in critically needed housing near transit. There are funds in there to rehab blighted buildings. There's a rural jobs tax credit, not as important our way, but out in Western Mass, very big deal. We're also going to be looking to create a cultural council recovery commission, because all things in the creative world and cultural world have taken a real deep hit as well. And we know that our culture and tourism is, they say for every dollar we spend on that, we return 5 to the Commonwealth. So, very worth the investment. And I guess that's it on the economic development bill.
Well, thank you so much, Claire and Representative. We did want to just highlight the Regional Economic Development Initiative, which I know you've helped us in the past secure that support for regional initiatives across the state. Yes. So thank you. Yeah, redo, exactly. If you can keep that in mind in the conference committee, we appreciate that. I know Senator Spilkey is a huge supporter of it, and so we're confident that we're going to see it retained in the budget at some level. But thank you.
We certainly.
Do you want to introduce Matt, or would you like me to?
Sure, you can. I'll give you a little, how about I'll walk you into it.
All right.
I became aware of the Small Business Strong program through a former Brockton girl who is Liz Clifford, grew up in Brockton, and she is now a senior vice president at Bank of America. And she called me and told me about this program, and I thought, this is something really, really great. And I'd like to bring it to the businesses in my district. So, of course, one of the first people I reached out to was Chris Cooney at Metro South Chamber, because I knew that he's always willing to, when you need help for small businesses, he's there. And we had a great Zoom meeting with Chris, and also with Karen Newman, who is the executive director of the Easton Chamber of Commerce. And Small Business Strong, told them about their program. Chris, embraced it immediately, as did Karen. And so that's why today we are bringing the program to you all today with the help of the Metro South Chamber. And Matt Brewer will be here to talk to you about it. And so I will pass the baton to Chris, and you can introduce Matt. How's that?
Thank you very much. So we're delighted, Matt, that you can be with us today. I know you're an entrepreneur yourself and a volunteer. You're one of more than 1,000 volunteers who are consultants and executives in the Boston and Massachusetts region, looking to help small businesses that need someone just to talk to turn to during this COVID recovery and situation. So I know your company helps small businesses and entrepreneurs and nonprofits figure out financial planning and setting a future for themselves and a plan in place. And of course, that all starts with talking with someone, and you're not here really necessarily talking about that. You're talking about the whole program, but you kind of combine two expertises there, and so we're happy to have you with us. What can you tell us about Small Business Strong?
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris, and thank you, Representative Cronin. First, just a shout out on the economic development bill. I do a lot of work in inclusive economic development across the country as an extension, Chris, of what you're saying, and a lot of things in that bill are fantastic, filling some gaps that some of the federal recovery left behind, and in particular the work through Mass Growth Capital and the CDFIs is fantastic. So thank you for that on behalf of all the small businesses. So Small Business Strong, I'll say a little bit about how I'm involved and what it is, and I'll actually highlight some examples, and including some right in the backyard there that hopefully you might be familiar with. So I've been working with the steering committee behind Small Business Strong over the last handful of months, given my experience working with financial institutions, foundations, and others help small business. I really work with organizations that empower small business, both with advice, capital, and other tools. And this really started when Ron O'Hanley at State Street, the CEO at State Street, identified a massive need. This was in March. And he emailed a lot of his fellow CEOs and said, this is going to be terrible for small businesses across the state, and we got to do something. So a core group flanked around Ron and team, including folks from the Foundation for Business Equity, Eastern Bank, McKinsey, PwC, and the steering committee has since grown to many others, including Bank of America, and many more, the Federal Reserve, the Boston Foundation, Mass Mutual, the list goes on of the support we've gotten. And Small Business Strong, getting to the heart of what it is a nonprofit organization. It is now a separate nonprofit with a mission to help businesses impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, with a specific emphasis on businesses owned by people of color and women. And it's focused on the entire state of Massachusetts. And we're excited to be here today to get the word out so we can make sure that we serve businesses across the state. We know that the 650,000 small businesses across the state are the lifeblood of the economy. And we also know that, unfortunately, even before the crisis, there are long-standing inequalities and barriers that have faced people owned by people of color and women in regards to the access to capital, advice, and markets or customers. And COVID-19 has simply exacerbated those pre-existing inequalities, and we want to help close that gap. So how do we do that? What we provide are two main things. First, we provide a curated set of resources on the website, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you and show you a peek at that. There's a lot out there on resources for small businesses. As you all know, everyone has their list of small business resources, and everyone and their family has a list of COVID-19 resources. So what we tried to do is to gather a central source of truth on that, you know, federal resources, local resources, with an emphasis on things that are unique and available to Massachusetts-based businesses broadly, some state programs, and some localized programs and support. So I encourage you to explore that. We also, in many cases, developed some proprietary content to try to distill a lot of the noise that's out there. And PPP was one of those things. And of course, unfortunately for now, PPP is closed, but the journey's not over for a lot of small businesses. Managing to forgiveness and ensuring that they go through what they need to go through and documenting payroll, et cetera, is really, really important. So we wanted to provide some very concrete, detailed guidance on that. So links on websites are great, but there's a lot of that out there. So the real meat of what Small Business Strong provides is human help, one-on-one advisory support for businesses. And that's really the core. So on the main page here, you'll see a button to consult with an advisor. And again, this is all completely free to businesses. So we ask that you simply fill out a very quick form. You can see there are only a few fields that are really required. We just need some basic information about your business to understand what kind of help that you're looking for. And then once you hit that button, you'll be contacted by one of our business advisors. There are two groups, which I'll touch on. We have business advisors, and then we have functional specialists. Business advisors is a special group of folks who are competitively selected, who are paid advisors by Small Business Strong, again, free to small businesses. And they were competitively selected to have a high level of expertise in advising small businesses. The majority of them are entrepreneurs or former CEOs themselves, and have strong generalist expertise to advise small businesses across a number of issues that they might be facing. We also were careful to make sure that we had a wide range of cultural competency and language capabilities. About 40% of the 30 business advisors we have speak Spanish. We've got those that speak Haitian Creole and Portuguese as well. So we know that that's important in terms of serving the population we're focused on. So that's who you can get access to. What does it mean when you get access to them? The first thing that a business advisor is going to do is they're going to review information that the small business provided. They're going to schedule a call, either a Zoom or an old-fashioned phone call, just to get to know the business, what the impact has been of COVID-19 on their business. Some things they might understand, some things they might need help with the business advisor in understanding. How much cash do you have on hand? What's the runway? Do you have a cash flow forecast? How might you be able to pivot and access markets in a different way? So that's usually a 60 to 90 minute conversation, after which the business advisor will provide additional content that the business might be important for the business to look at in terms of resources they might be able to apply for, localized grant programs, et cetera, and then just other advice that might not have been delivered on the call. And then the last thing the business advisor does, importantly, is identify any areas of specialist need that the business might have. And we have specialists in 5 key areas. The first is marketing and digital enablement. So reaching customers with a polished message about what the business offers, and then doing so in a digital way, obviously, of course, increasingly in COVID. So that might be launching a new website and improving a website, launching an e-commerce platform, so on and so forth. And finance and accounting is another big one, obviously. So helping businesses navigate all of the different federal, state, local, and just private market capital options out there, and what's best suited for their needs, and helping them complete that application and guide them through that journey. I want to be clear that Small Business Strong today doesn't provide capital directly, but is a resource to help businesses navigate the capital that's out there. We helped dozens and dozens of businesses navigate PPP and are helping many now navigate how to manage forgiveness and maximize chances of forgiveness. And then those are the main two areas. We see about over half of our need is in those two specialist areas. We also offer expertise in human resources, managing how to bring employees back, how to communicate with them. You might have to make some staffing changes and tough decisions, making sure that you're doing so in a responsible way. And then operations and legal. And that last bucket, legal, we get a lot of questions and inquiries around lease negotiations and the rights of tenants as small businesses and how to proceed there. So that's the program, and would love to get any thoughts, questions, but I'll first just give you a snapshot of who we've served to date and one example of a business in your area. So as of right now, we've served just under 380 businesses across the state. About 10% of those businesses have been in the southeast part of the state. We'd love for that number to be higher. So encourage you to put your name in if you're looking for help or share out the resource to folks. And we've developed some partnerships in the region too. I'd like to get a little shout out to Southeastern Economic Development Corporation, or SEED, who's an alternative lender supporting small micro businesses. And we have an emerging partnership to refer businesses there who have additional capital needs that are unmet from some of the federal programs and SBA programs. So Susan Marie and her team there have been great. And then some businesses locally, just to give a shout out, and we are very careful about sharing businesses that come through our doors, and everything is kept confidential, but we did ask if we could highlight this one as a case study so we can share it. This is Beantown Builders. Donaldson, his team based in Brockton, fantastic business that's been growing tremendously and was hit by COVID. Of course, as you can imagine, they are a residential and commercial remodeling contractor business. So if you need any work done in your home while you're at home, give Donaldson team a call. And the reason I highlight them is because it's a great example of the unique capability of Small Business Strong to serve businesses. There are a lot of technical assistance resources out there, and I'm sure you're familiar with many of them. What's different about Small Business Strong, as you might be able to glean, is that between the business advisors and functional specialists that we have, it's over 100 individuals with a high level of quality experience and expertise, but also a broad diversity of expertise. So when Donald first contacted Small Business Strong, he was looking for some very specific advice from someone who had real estate development experience. And to be honest, right away, we didn't have it, but we found it through the network and tapped one of the partner organizations who was providing a functional specialist. And Donald's been thrilled with that experience. And above and beyond that, we can't promise this in every example, but one of our steering committee members from Suffolk Construction stepped in and had a call with Donald to talk about what his needs are, what his goals were, and specifically connected their head of marketing with Donald to help strategize about his digital marketing website strategy. So just a pretty good snapshot success story of how we'd like to serve businesses overall, and nice to see there was one right in your backyard.
Yeah, Donald's great. He's very active in the community. He's actually joining our board in November, so we're happy to have him as a member and as a leader in the community. And it's great that he was highlighted today. I had no idea. That's terrific.
Yeah, I thought of it coming up. It just hit me. Why not?
That's great, Matt. We really appreciate you highlighting this program. It seems so easy to get help and to have someone to talk with about your small business. And as you said, only 10% of the 10% of the folks you've helped are from Southeastern Massachusetts. So we definitely want to help you increase that. 381 businesses helped so far. You've got over 1,000 different consultants available, and so the capacity is there. We just need to feed you more small businesses to benefit from this. I'll remind you also, by percentage, we have more people of color in Brockton than any other community, including Boston, in the state of Massachusetts. So it's great that you're on this call, and we'll certainly spread the word through our website, also social media, and some of the relationships that we have in the community as well. I'm just trying to make this simple for folks that if they have any question, whether it's about PPP forgiveness or about, gee, they've got a property or they're in a bind, or, in terms of what's going on here with COVID, and they just want to kind of talk through a few points with someone who confidentially who can provide them some expertise, that it's free. And so how long do people typically spend with their advisor? And is it in one fell swoop, or is it over weeks, or how does that work?
Yeah, great question, Chris. And first on the point about serving Brockton specifically, we'd love to have Brockton follow the footsteps of Lawrence, which is right behind you probably in that statistic, where we've seen probably our largest concentration by city of cases. Similar conversations like this led to it, and we'd love for Brockton and the surrounding region to follow. In terms of your question about the nature of the engagement, the duration, it's a good question. It varies widely. We find that some, we call cases, because we're on the case as soon as you enter information, they're resolved quickly. Sometimes the business advisor can help the business understand an accounting question, a legal question, or how to navigate PPP. A lot of questions historically, for example, about how am I calculating 2.5 times payroll, and what's the length of the coverage period for forgiveness? So those things can be somewhat quick. Others take some time, and the business advisors are scheduling 2, 3, 4 calls over the course of 3 to 4 weeks to help work through a problem. They might provide a template, for example. One common thing is business advisors or financial accounting specialists providing a template for cash flow forecasting. And this is a great example, also clarify what small business owner is going to do and what it's not going to do for a number of reasons, including liability, et cetera. Our advisors are not going to execute for you and become a member of your team, but we're going to provide tools to you. So a lot of times those folks will provide an Excel file that is tailored to the business, the type of business. The business will have their bookkeeper populate the numbers and start to fill that out, and they'll get back on the phone to look at the results and talk about the implications of that. And then they might be again referred to a specialist if something comes up on the legal side or they needed support on marketing. So that's an example on the other side of the spectrum where it can be 4 to 5 to 6 weeks. And we're very happy with that. We want to work with businesses for the duration to make sure that they're getting maximum amount of reward out of this program. And just on average, it's about 15 to 20 hours of support in total, because we have some structure around the time allocation for the business advisor and then the functional specialist. But we're flexible as well, and so are the advisors. And again, it was nice to be able to competitively select these people for folks who are really wanting to lean in and go the extra mile and who are good.
And small businesses shouldn't be shy about this. I know Eastern Bank alone, I believe from their press release, put $5 million into this initiative. So they're paying some of the advisors to help and to talk with businesses. And I don't know what the total amount raised is, but I think it's in excess of $10 million. They're making available for consulting for businesses. So folks shouldn't be shy, just like they shouldn't be shy about the RAFT program or the PPP or the EIDL or any of these programs that are designed to bridge this gap of COVID to get you to the other side.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to be here for the long haul. We had a lot of discussions about this internally about what the strategy and the duration of this should be. It was originally framed around COVID recovery. And when you see what continues to unfold nationally and even locally, I think we can all agree we're going to be recovering from this for at least a couple of years. So not going anywhere anytime soon, Chris, that's for sure.
Right. Well, I want to thank you, Matt, for being with us. And we'll share the information with the various associations in the city and the region. And I hope to spread the word and get that percentage of 10% up much higher. So, and I heard you say Portuguese and Creole, right? Both advisors, and so that's great. That helps with some of the language. Great, thank you. So I just wanted to, Representative, did you have anything you wanted to say before we close out?
No, just thanks, Matt. Great presentation. I'm very happy you're coming down to help our area.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. I do want to remind you, we were scheduled to have the governor on October 7th. His folks apologized. They needed to reschedule till the spring, so we're hoping to have him for our Small Business of the Year Awards. Hopefully that will be live, but if not, then virtually. That's the sad news. The good news is he's sending us his secretary, Rosalind Acost. She will be speaking on the 20th instead, so that's October 20th at noon. We'll be featuring Secretary Acosta, who will talk about labor, unemployment, whatever you want to talk about. She'll be here with us for 45 minutes to an hour, and she's great. We've had her before. So we hope you join us for that. Every week we're doing virtual networking. It's just fascinating. I love it. I meet new people, new businesses every week. You will too. And it's great at the end. We ask people to ask a direct question to someone else, and it results in business that people otherwise wouldn't have had. So please tune into that. Our next one is next Thursday, October 1st. At 10:30 a.m. The space is limited. We try to limit it just to 15 folks because we want to make it meaningful and have everyone have a chance to share their business. We talked about the RAFT program that's still open, $4,000 for any business. Any homeowner that is trying to make rent or make a mortgage who has income of less than $70,000, that's available. The link is down below. We also have $10,000 grants. These are simple grants to small businesses throughout Brockton. Please get your applications in. We thought this money would be gone in July. And there's a lot of paperwork, but it's worth it. It's a grant. It's not a loan. So they still have, the city still has quite a bit of money left to give away. So if you haven't applied, please do so or spread the word like we are now. And then beyond that, I know I'm missing something. Lexi will jump in, I'm sure. Annual meeting. We have the race director from the Boston Marathon. He's got to fill us in and everything. He's also has a great personal story, motivational speaker. And we're doing something very innovative with our annual meeting. We have Chef Charles Herman from Siena in Providence. He's now working at Teen Challenge. He's on contract with them. He's doing a training program for the students there in culinary arts. They've hosted us the last 2 years for our annual meeting. They've agreed that if we have to go virtual, which it's looking more that way, that either we'll deliver the meals to the business at the annual meeting that day, or we'll make it available for pickup if you have 5 meals or more. Or you can donate them to a hospital or a first responder. So many companies have renewed their participation. We usually sell 400, 450 tickets to that annual meeting, where we've sold over 200 so far, and the invitations haven't even gone out yet. They're going out next week. So we thank folks for the support. We hope you'll participate in that. It will be free to tune in, so we'll send the link to all the folks that are on these calls to hear Dave McGilvery's inspirational story. It would be great. We did this on purpose because it's going to be after a very contentious election, federal election, and he has a great personal story that hopefully will give us a little bit of hope for the future and our own recovery as well. So I want to thank you all. Please get outside. It's going to be a great weekend weather-wise. And we hope to see you back here next Friday. So it's going to be next Friday, 3 Fridays in October, next Friday, and then the 18th, and then whatever the next one is. There's 5 in October. So hope to see you soon. And again, thank you all for participating. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.